Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and I have here an Amazon Kindle Fire, which is running the standard version of Android that comes with the Kindle Fire and gives you access to books, music, movies, and other things from Amazon, but it is also possible to install a custom version of Android called CyanogenMod and to go back to the stock Android experience, stock Amazon experience, which is actually what I've done with this tablet already, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. This is not necessarily for beginners. It does involve being able to install the Android software developer kit on your computer, connect it via USB, run some commands, and be willing to potentially void your warranty or run into troubles. So if those things sound scary, you might want to stay away. But assuming you've already first installed the Android SDK on your computer, and second, followed our instructions for rooting the Kindle Fire, here's what you do next. You can find a link on our website to the XDA Developers Forum where you can find the files that you need to download, and there's actually 5 files you're going to need to download to install the software. The first is an update.zip file, a customized version of Clockwork Recovery, and the Kindle Fire stock recovery, as well as files called log and last log. Now, if you're using a Windows computer like I am, after you download the log and last log, you'll notice that they're called log.txt and lastlog.txt. You're going to want to rename those and take off the text extension so that they're just called log and last log. And once you've downloaded all of those, and I've actually installed them all into, or copied them all into a single folder here, you're going to want to connect your Kindle Fire to your computer via USB. And hang on for the lousy camera work here. I'm trying to hold the camera in my hand as I do this. It should connect as a USB mass storage device. And then you should be able to copy those files and folders over. So let's do that. So you want to copy them to the root directory, and we're going to copy the update.zip, update recovery, log and last log all to your SD card. I'm going to do these 2 at a time because I'm working with one hand and holding the camera at the other. Copy, paste. And I've actually already moved the log and last log into here. So once you've got all 4 of those files, and you don't want to copy the stock recovery image just yet, we can do that later. Once this is complete, we're going to want to unmount the USB mass storage, so we can go to the Kindle Fire here, and in a few seconds, turn the screen on, click disconnect, and then we're going to want to open an ADB shell. To do that, you can go to your computer and type command if you're using Windows, and it'll open a command prompt, and then you're going to want to navigate to the directory where ADB is. In my case, that's under Program Files, Android SDK, and actually I think I need to go one more to Platform Tools. And then we're going to go ADB shell to open up a shell, CD cache. Now, normally what you're going to type here is make directory recovery, or mkdir recovery. I've already done that here. And in fact, CD recov. Okay, so there's nothing in that directory, just wanted to double check. So now I'm going to copy the log and last log files into that recovery directory. So you can find, again, instructions on the XDA developers or at Liliputing for doing this precisely, but I'm just copying and pasting those commands and pressing enter. Next, we want to flash Clockwork Mod recovery. And if that works properly, you're going to see that a certain number of bytes have been transferred. Now we're going to reboot into recovery. And when you type reboot, it should reboot the tablet. And so now here we are in ClockworkMod Recovery. Now normally when you're using ClockworkMod on a different tablet, what you would do is use the volume buttons to navigate up and down through the options. Jackpot Clavin from XDA Developers has modified it so that we can use the one button available to us on the Kindle Fire, which is the power button. And we'll press power button to select Apply Update from SD card. And here, even though it says no, when you click it one more time, it's basically going to choose yes and it's going to wipe your cache. Now this will actually delete a lot of the data that you have installed on your device, so there is going back, but you want to be careful before you make the jump and decide to do this. And now it's going to install the update. It's going to take a moment, but eventually we'll see the progress bar go. The next step after this is restoring the Kindle Fire recovery, because otherwise every time we reboot we're going to wind up right back at ClockworkMod recovery, and once that happens there's really no way to boot into CyanogenMod. So that's what the next step is going to show us how to do. Okay, so now here we are, it's all installed, but we have to get back to the original recovery in order to reboot. So in order to do that, we're going to go back into our shell. We're going to type adb shell. It would probably help if I typed it in the right window. Mount the SD card. Now I've noticed that this has happened to me a couple of times here. It doesn't seem to like mounting the SD card. So what I did, I forgot to write down what I did. So I believe what I did here is, there's a couple of different options. Let's try exit, adb kill server, adb shell, should start a new server. Let's try this again. Nope, still use. Okay, so we're going to try unplugging it and replugging it, and actually, you know what I think we might need to do is reboot it. So from here, let's try this one more time. Okay, that's not working, so we're going to reboot. Okay. adb shell, mount SD card, and now it's mounted. So that reboot was all we really needed to do there. And now we're going to need to copy the stock recovery image. And to do that, there's some interesting instructions for doing it, but I actually found the easiest way was to copy the recovery image to the same directory where your ADB is. So I've got a file in here called stock recovery, and what I'm going to do is adb push stock to sbin. Once we've copied the stock recovery to the SD card, we still need to run one more command. So we're going to do adb shell to open up a shell, and then command, and if all goes according to plan, it'll tell us 16 megs written, and then once we're done with that, we can type reboot and hit enter, and it should reboot the tablet, and it should reboot this time into CyanogenMod. So in just about 10 minutes here, and that includes my taking time off to explain various things to you, we've installed CyanogenMod on the Amazon Kindle Fire using Jackpot Claven's tools. Now, the advantages of running CyanogenMod are that it gives you a much more standard Google Android experience, and we should see the CyanogenMod logo coming up here in a moment. It gives you a much more standard Android experience, which lets you sort of break out of the controlled environment that Amazon has set up. It includes tweaks and modifications that are designed by CyanogenMod to speed up Android, and it works pretty well overall on the Kindle Fire. There's some things that don't work properly. So, for instance, audio is not yet working, and out of the box, it doesn't come with certain things included, such as the Android Market, but you can install the Android Market. It's a little tricky, but there are ways to do it. Or you can install the Amazon App Store if you want. Now, it's not going to be able to use the Amazon Kindle application designed specifically for the Kindle Fire. Instead, you use the Kindle ebook application that's designed for all Android devices, and that means you don't get some of the Kindle-only features like access to the Kindle owner's lending library. But overall, the experience with CyanogenMod is pretty good, and it makes the tablet feel pretty fast and pretty powerful. So after a moment here, it should boot into CyanogenMod, and that's pretty much it. Now, if you want to be able to revert and go back from using CyanogenMod to using the Amazon Kindle Fire custom software that's designed by Amazon, there's a way to do that as well, and it's even easier, and we'll show you how to do that next. And here we are running CyanogenMod, which is a custom version of Android that's based on the Android open source project. Now, to restore, there's a different post on the XDA Developer Forum, also by Jackpot Claven, which shows us how to download a couple of files. First, you want to download the latest system update from Amazon, and then second, you want to download a file called command, and that's pretty much all you need here. Now, the update from Kindle, you're going to want to rename, instead of Kindle update Kindle 6.2 blah blah blah, you want to call it update.zip, and command, again, if you're doing this on Windows, it's going to say command.txt, and you just want to rename it so that it's just command with no file extension. Then we're going to want to copy those to the Kindle Fire, and in order to do that, you can just type connect as a USB mass storage device, and then we should be able to copy and paste files to and from. Here we go, autoplay is open. And we want to put these, there should be a folder called Kindle Updates on your device, and we want to take the update.zip file and copy it into Kindle Updates. And command, we want to put in the root directory of your SD card. And I've already done that here. So we just need to wait for this to finish copying. And then once we do that, we're going to just run a couple of quick commands using the same command prompt that we were using to install CyanogenMod. In fact, I think we can actually do part of that while we're copying the update. So we're going to, actually no we can't, we have to turn off USB mass storage for it to work. So once this file's finished, Okay, it's almost there. So I'm going to turn the screen back on, and you can see that there's an icon here that just says turn off USB mass storage, which we'll do in a couple of seconds. Okay, turn off USB mass storage. Now from here we want to open the ADB shell again, ADB shell. We're going to type cd cache. And it wants us to create a directory called recovery, which already exists in this case. But then we're going to copy the command file from the SD card to the recovery directory. Change the boot mode. And then reboot. And this time, instead of going to the ClockworkMod recovery, it should use the standard Amazon Kindle Fire recovery. And it'll use that to install the Amazon Kindle Fire software. And here it goes. So it sees the package, and it's updating the package. And then once this is done, you'll still need to log in with your Amazon information, connect to Wi-Fi, and you should, at that point, be back at the standard experience. And I've noticed that some of the applications that you may have installed before you started will still be loaded. Some others will not, and some things may not work properly. For instance, it's not pre-rooted, so you'll need to reinstall the Android Market if you want to root the device and install the Android Market. But most of the applications, if you've just been using the standard Amazon experience, will already be there, and you can just go ahead and start using them right away as if nothing had happened, or you can download them from the web. Any ebooks, music, movies, other things that are stored in your Amazon Cloud accounts will also be accessible. So here we are rebooting for the first time back into the Amazon Kindle Fire stock system. And here we go. That's the standard Amazon software. In order to do this, you need to, in order to get everything done, you need to go ahead and set up your Wi-Fi and log in with your password. But overall, this software should be pretty much what you expect from Amazon. This is Bradley.